passion. Man with a vision. Got a passion. Making it happen. Ready for action. And this is my world now. we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing on. We're taking over the town. Hit the switch and shut it down. Like in New York, we're electric, never stop. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got. We're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere getting high. We're trouble when we get crazy, we get wild. Got dynamite in our blood, get ready and buckle up. When we go big, we blow up in ferocious style. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We're coming ready or not. 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 Oh, pain on our face. Oh, drums, the thunder that keeps our pace. And make no mistake, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got. We're giving all that we got. All that we got, yeah. We'll never throw in that white towel. You're never knocking us out. We'll never know. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not. We're coming ready or not.
There we go. Not sure why the button not wanting to work properly, but somewhere we'll get that sorted out. But Brockton, we're back here for episode number 2. Uh, Again, I expect this to be a really, really good show. We got a lot to go on. We're waiting on one person to get here, but today we're going to be talking about the Cars Tour new owners. Not one owner, not 2, 3, but 4 owners coming in to pick this series up. And of course, also on the docket, we're going to be talking to Jeff Stabnow, Sean Brightsman. Hopefully he can make it. He is busy at work, unfortunately on a Sunday, but he, believe he's scheduling his lunch to get in here with us. So hopefully he can make it. And then we'll go into segment 3, where we're going to talk to just Jeff Stabnow, yourself, and I. Again, we're going to be talking about the Northwest Racing Series, what's coming up in that, along with LSRTV, because we got some things to go over as well. So again, it's second episode. Hopefully it'll be better than the first one. I don't know how we're going to top it, but we got a few minutes before we get to that first subject. So what are your thoughts going into episode number 2?
Yeah, episode number 2. I'm super excited about it. First of all, glad to be back. It's always good when you have a second episode after the first episode. It means you were at least well received the first time. So hopefully we can keep that good reception going. A lot of good stuff, like you were saying, on the docket tonight. And we were already talking about topics for next week too. So there's going to be an episode 3. That's something to look forward to. But I'm super excited. We got some good characters on today. We had a great character in the one-thumbed wonder of BJ Duvall last week. So that's going to be hard to top. But I think the guests today are going to be insightful and informative. And there's a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, and we're just waiting on our first guest to show up. So we'll preview what's coming next week. Potentially, one thing that's coming next week is the college series. We know one of our coworkers at LSRTV Terry Radford wants to talk about that. You yourself are trying to get into the College Series and racing that. And, you said you've got to be the fastest. You're the captain of there, but you still got to be the fastest to get in. So, what are you doing to prep for that while we wait for our first guest to get here?
Yeah, so the series we're talking about is the eNASCAR Collegiate iRacing Series spring semester. It's put on by the NACE Star League, and it's the top 40 drivers from the top 40 schools get to run for the A main event, which is what our good buddy Terry and a couple other guys broadcast on the Tuesday of the event. I have not been lucky enough to be the fastest driver at my school, even though I am the team captain. We have drivers like Garrett Lowe, Tucker Mentor. If you're in depth on the eNASCAR iRacing series, you know those names, and if you don't, you will. They're two very, very fast guys, and they're hard to beat for sure. You go and ghost and practice. I know for the last race of last semester, I put in about 150 laps and was still about 2/10 off their pace. So they're unbelievably quick, which is why I am so thankful to have them, but also curse them every time I see them because they are just ridiculously fast and they put all of us to shame. But they make us better and they make us turn up the heat every week. But yeah, like I said, you had to be the top 40 drivers on time, and then you also had to be the fastest of your school. So I think right now for the Iowa race, which is on the 24th, so next Tuesday, I am currently in the top 40 in time, but Tucker is third on the time.
And we yeah, so we can hear people in the background.
Yeah.
But, we do have Wesley now, so Jeff can hear us, but he is here. Just got connected. This is the beauty. We get to hear the back end that y'all don't get to hear. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get that 15-minute timer up, and we've been having some issues. So hopefully the timer is working. Indeed, timer is working. So we're going to go ahead and wipe it over and bring in Wesley. Wesley, you're here, and we're glad to have you. And we're going to talk about it. The car store.
And by the way, in my defense, I had my damn mic muted, okay? I don't know why it went out over the broadcast with Jeff Stab now talking. So,
Jeff, so you can hear the back end just like on a broadcast.
Okay.
So he didn't go over, but we can hear him. But Jeff being a boss today, he making sure we got our peoples here. So we think
freaking out for a second.
Yeah,
You said connect that by 4:05, 3:05 Central Time, Eastern Time, my life, and I said, okay, I'll do that. So so yeah, we need to reset the clock, by the way. Okay, it's not officially 15-minute timer. Wait till we get started. So yeah,
that's when you know Wesley's got some things to say.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna reset it. So welcome the green screen this time because we're not green screening nothing out here. It's all full disclosure. We got Wesley Allen here to talk about the Cars Tour and picking up 4 major owners. We talked about it, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 owners. Wesley, you have the most, it's because, that's your bread and butter, super late models, short track asphalt racing. What are your thoughts on this? And, what do you think is going to become of 4 iconic owners, to be frank?
So I will tell you this, and I said this on Finish Line the other day. I see the good, the bad, and the ugly of this for the Cars Tour, and having partners Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, Jeff Burton, Justin Marks from Trackhouse, and Kevin Harvick now as well, which Kevin Harvick announced NASCAR-wise that he will be retiring effective immediately at the end of the 2023 season. Also, some rumors are coming in that possibly this might be the final year for Martin Truex Jr. as well, the driver out of Marietta, New Jersey. So with that being said, here's my deal, Brockton and Charles, and if everybody can tune in, you want to put in your opinions, I'd love to have them. I'll read them back. I have had a change of heart in the last 48 hours after being at awards banquets in South Carolina at Myrtle Beach after being at Florence Motor Speedway yesterday and after talking with some pretty big people in the sport. First off, I want to say that I think the good is they're going to keep late model stock car racing alive in this area. The bad is we need to expand late model stocks because late model stocks, Charles and Brockton, it's big in the Carolinas, it's big in Virginia, it's big in Western Tennessee, but that's it. You go up north, there's no late model stock car races unless they go to Jennerstown and do a special runoff 4th of July race. And we saw how that went. One year the Cars Tour did the super late models. The next year they done the late model stocks. The same thing can be said down in the South, the deep South, in the Florida, the Panhandle. It's super late model country down there. It's pro late model country down there. For the Cars Tour to survive, I see that it needs to expand. The ugly, and like I said, I've had a change of heart on this now, Charles and Brockton. I see the potential of it being a Junior Motorsports, Kevin Harvick Incorporated, Justin Marks Racing, Jeff Burton, whoever he has running his cars. Maybe he doesn't have cars. I don't know who's fielding. But I don't want to see it become, you roll in the gate, Charles, and a Junior Motorsports car is going to win. But here's something that somebody told me that I didn't even think about until last night. Wesley, it's already happening. You're looking at a Junior Motorsports car win the Cars Tour Championship in Carson Quapple. We've had Carson Quapple on finish line before here on this network. We have seen what Carson Quapple has done driving Junior Motorsports cars. Every time Josh Berry gets in a Junior Motorsports car, what does he do? He wins. So what's really going to change from that?
Oh, and one thing, and we'll go to Brockton for this and then to Wesley to see your thoughts is, I want to know, with Dale Jr., primarily Dale Jr. being involved in this now, are we going to potentially see more short tracks on iRacing of asphalt that are, not some that are closed, some that are active running? And will we see a potential Cars Tour on iRacing? We've seen Cars Tour, the e-Cars Tour, but will we see a officially sanctioned one by iRacing and have, some of these big Cars Tour events on iRacing now, like an official series like the World of Outlaws, late models, and sprint cars?
Short answer is yes, I do. We talked about it last week with the, series that shall not be named anymore, moving over to a different platform. That freed up a lot of space on the iRacing calendar and the future of iRacing. And we talked about what they would be able to fill that with. And then we get the news with this series going into new ownership, 4 big names, and a big name in iRacing with Dale Jr. I think the Cars Tour is definitely going to make a statement in the iRacing community. It already is a really big community, that late model stocks, that kind of short track feel. I mean, I remember when the snowball was going on, we were running snowballs 3 times a day just to try and have fun and have a good run. So I think you get the late model stock, super lates, all of these are going to start blowing up in popularity. We're going to get new tracks for it, maybe even a rescanned car for it. I would not be surprised if Dale Jr. started to push a lot of these short tracks, Greenville Pickens, a lot of these tracks that are, starting to fade away, unfortunately. I wouldn't be surprised if they all of a sudden were in the next couple of lineups, I guess, for some of these series.
Yeah, Brockton, I have to say I agree, Charles, to what Brockton just said. We have seen in years past, especially during the pandemic for iRacing when it exploded, the resurgence of e-car series. And, of course, it was a Cars Tour sanctioned, no, but it was kind of following what was the Cars Tour. I do believe with the clout that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has. And me and some people talked about this at NASCAR yesterday during the awards banquet. We talked about it just on the phone the other day. And I will say this as well. I believe that the Cars Tour, with the helm of Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Justin Marks, and I want to say this, don't put one away from the other because these gentlemen have all got amazing credentials, Brockton and Charles, and what they've done for the sport. But in my opinion, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has done so much for short track racing and motorsports in general since he got out of the race car and what he's done in the sport has been astronomical. There is a resurgence of hype and optimism and excitement in the short track industry, something that I thought for a long time ago, probably about a decade ago, short track racing, especially pavement, was dying. Dirt track racing, they're getting it. They're on the rise. They're doing well. It's time to see pavement racing, Charles, make a climb as well. And I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the guy to do that. One of the questions I was asked yesterday in Myrtle Beach, Wesley, do you think the Cars Tour will come back like the Pro Cup Series? Okay, so a lot of people might not realize, but what is the Cars Tour? Was what was the rebranded Pro Cup Series, okay? A lot of people don't realize that. What used to be the successful Hooters Pro Cup Series on the United Speed Alliance Racing came from the Cars Tour being what it is today. And by the way, thank you to obviously Kirk Ipock and Lynette and Solid Rock Carriers for keeping the series going as a title sponsor. But I will say this, though, Charles, will we see the return of a Northern Southern National Hooters Pro Cup, now Cars Pro Cup format again for the Cars Late Model Series? I'm not saying no, but for that to happen, Brockton, they have got to expand late model stock car racing besides in the Mid-Atlantic U.S. That's the only way that we're going to see this series grow. Can it happen? Will it happen? That remains to be seen. But we need to get racetracks that are not a part of the Carolinas to get on board of what late model stock car racing is, and they've got to give it a chance.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. You know, we were talking about this the other day. I don't remember who I was talking to, but in the state of Texas, we have one asphalt track, and that is Houston Motorsports Park. You know, I would love to see the Cars Tour come down here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wesley. Does Flow Racing cover that series, or does anybody cover that series as far as broadcast wise?
So I know that is still up in the air, but I will tell you unofficially that there is probably going to be an announcement that Flow Racing is going to become the broadcast partner of the Cars Tour. It's just going to go hand in hand. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the people with NASCAR and what they've done with Flow Racing, I think you're going to see more involvement with the Cars Tour and NASCAR. Listen, I asked Kevin Neveline about a month ago when me and him were just talking on the phone chatting, and of course he is the marketing guy not marketing, he is the strategic director of the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series. I want to make sure I gave him the right title. Kevin Neveline, good friend. One of the things we talked about, Charles, was with Cars Tour doing what it, and I'll say this before we go back into that subject. I knew that this was going to happen with Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick. I didn't know who the other partners were. I didn't know that Justin Marks was involved. I didn't know that Jeff Burton was involved. The two big names was Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr. And I was under the impression that it was going to either happen at the beginning of 2024 or at the start of 2025. So when this announcement came last Monday afternoon, I was like everyone else, like gangbusters. I was like, holy cow, this is not what I was expecting. Jack McNally, Keely Dubinsky, everybody that's there at the Cars Tour, they've done a phenomenal job to keep the Pro Cup image alive, to do late model stock car racing alive. But unofficially, Charles, to answer your question, it is right now being said it will be on Flow Racing. It will be a production of the Cars Tour people, but it will be now streamed on Flow Racing. In my opinion, Flow Racing is just one more tip in the cap for them to become the leader of motorsports streaming, and not just motorsports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse. Flow Sports is becoming an international, worldwide streaming phenomenon.
Yeah, I definitely agree they are. And, you know, with Flow being involved, you know, bring that car store to Texas, run them at Houston Motorsports Park. You know, Race on Texas already has a good working relationship with Flow, so we can help them out there. We'll do the production for them down there at HMP.
That's all I'm going to show you right now, Charles. You just take a hint. That's all I'm going to say. Why am I wearing Flow clothes? That's all I'm going to say. Just think about that.
Covering them up, but wearing them. But that being said, we got 4 minutes left. So, Brockton, we'll start with you. Then we'll go to Wesley. The last few minutes of this segment, what are your final thoughts on this whole thing? Obviously, we all think it's a good thing. You know, some good, some bad possibly, but overall good. So what are your final thoughts here in the last 3.5 minutes?
Just bare bones, I think this is a great idea. I hope that, like Wesley said, they can kind of make this a national and maybe even international. I know I have a couple guys in Canada that would love to see some short track racing up there if they could find a facility for it. I know through my few years of moving around from place to place, Pikes Peak International is a great track to be at. That's in between Pueblo, Colorado and Colorado Springs. It's a great little track, but hasn't had a sanctioned race in a very long time. They've got 4 guys that know their way around the sport. Justin Marks, as we have already touched on, he's a NASCAR top 3 NASCAR series winner in the Xfinity series. You've got the mayor. I mean, when you've got the mayor, the Intimidator's kid, and then Happy Harvick, that's already a powerhouse. And then you've got one of the best marketing minds in NASCAR at the moment. You're going to have a very well-rounded kind of head of the table. So I think this whole Cars Tour is going in the right direction. They have to make the right moves and the right moves quickly, because if not, this buzz that they have is just going to die off, and it's going to be very hard, even for a Dale Jr. character, to bring it back.
And I want to sell something on this, Charles, is what Brockton just said, to reiterate more and to elaborate. It can't be based on money. It can't be based on purses. I can tell you how many tracks or events and things that I've been a part of and other people have done where they throw $10,000 more. They throw more money onto the winner's purse or what it pays to win, and the cars don't come. There has to be a meeting in the middle. And hopefully the powers that be with the Cars Tour, the new owners and drivers and fans, drivers of people that are interested in wanting to be involved will come. They will meet together. They will find a way to coincide. Rival series. They've got to work with each other. Here's one of the positives that the Cars Tour have that they don't have with somebody else. No one else has created a late model stock car series against them. So that's on their good side right now. Nobody said it and said, well, we want to create a late model stock car series, like in super late model racing. Too many roosters in the hen house. We see it in dirt. We see it in pavement. There's nobody else that is doing a late model stock national tour. Why is that? What is the reason? Is it because Charles and Brockton, because it's in the mid-Atlantic? Is it because people think late model stock car racing's dying? So that's something they got to look at. You got to look at the tracks taking the chance on the event. You got to look on the series sanctioning body and the owners, Dale Jr., Jeff Burton, Justin Marks, and Kevin Harvick, trying to make it feasible for people to want to join. Better purses, better pay. You got to look at paying the winner good money, but you got to look at paying 15th place good money. You got to work on an incentive program. You got to work on a fuel strategy, a hotel strategy, host hotels, things like that needs to be done to build a marketing platform to make these drivers that were on the fence at a local track say, now, okay, here's something that I want to run after. Here's something that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of the National Cars Tour and what this new image is. Not taking anything away from what Jack McNally and Keeley and everybody have done in years past. Gene Cox's vision, which was the Hooters Pro Cup Series. But again, there is so many things, Charles, that they've got to change. We're in a time of change. Our world has changed. Society has changed. Our sport has changed. They've got to find a way to adapt with it. If not, it's going to be for naught.
I definitely agree. And I will say this on that note, 15 minutes goes by in a hurry when you're talking about it. That being said,
I got a bone. Why do you not have me with the Northwest as the voice of the Northwest series? Why was I not on for that segment? I just,
well,
it's all good.
In our defense, we were bringing Sean in as well, and Sean was going to talk about it. But I believe Jeff's trying to signal me something. I'm not sure what he's trying to signal. So you won't be able to see Jeff, but we're going to bring Jeff in real quick because technically this segment is over anyway. So, Jeff, you're giving us hand signals. So what are those hand signals you're giving us?
I'm just saying, why not bring Wesley up for the Northwest? He is the voice of the Northwest. So if anybody should be on, it should be Wesley.
All right, well, I don't have a 45-minute timer, so we're just going to have to go with a 15-minute timer for this one. So
Just recycle the 15 minutes 3 times.
yeah,
It'll
we're
be
gonna
fine.
recycle it. So we planned on Sean being here, but Sean did let us know. Unfortunately, he is not gonna be able to be here. So we're going to do some swapping out here really quick. Hey, this is hosted and run by one person. Well, technically hosted by two and produced by one. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll just call an audible here, and we'll do this. We'll just wipe it out real quick. We're gonna wipe it out. We're gonna bring in everybody. We're gonna bring the whole crowd in, and we'll put the timer on the clock. And yes, I'm liking this. I think I gave him that background, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
It's definitely
Oh,
it's definitely a lot better than him sitting on the throne of the toilet seat when we were working on graphics about a year ago.
If I did not give him that background, then he found it on whatever that thing is, Digital Juice, because I'm pretty sure that's where it's from.
I offered it to you at one point.
Oh,
That's how you
okay.
saw it.
Maybe it was something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and put that 15 minutes on the clock. And Jeff, we're going to go straight to you because this is all about the Northwest Racing Series, Cup, Truck, ARCA. You know, we don't know Xfinity. You know, you've raced several cars and trucks during its 10-year or 10-season thing, and this is the 10th season. So what can we expect coming into the 10th season of the trucks, and what else can we expect from the Northwest Racing Series?
Well, I'll just put the caveat out there that we haven't finalized anything yet. A lot of what we're doing is still in discussions. I think we finished up there right before Thanksgiving. We took some time off, to get through the holidays, and then we just kind of started talking about stuff recently. I think there are some big changes on the horizon. Again, these are things that Sean and I have had some conversations, directions we're leaning, strongly leaning in some instances. First of all, we think we're going to move the truck series to Monday nights. And the reason for that is we've got some guys that want to run Road to Pro. Road to Pro runs on Thursday nights, trucks running on Thursday nights, right? We have a conflict there. We also try to use the Road to Pro schedule as a way to give our guys an opportunity maybe to shake down their sets, get a little practice run in before that Road to Pro race. So we think moving our trucks to Monday would actually benefit anybody running the Road to Pro. Hopefully boost attendance a little bit so we're not competing with that Road to Pro truck series. So I think that's probably the first big change that we're talking about making. So there will be an 11th season or 10th. I don't remember where we're at of the trucks this year.
10 seasons.
10th. Yeah. So we're still working on the schedule. We're looking at a couple different ways. We're probably going to shorten the season by a few races this year. And maybe not have a shorter season, but we think we're going to sprinkle a few more off weeks in throughout the season there, just because it gets to be a long, when you're running 8-9 months, 30 races, it gets to be long. And sometimes, with the trucks, when you're doing the open setups and all that, it's nice to just have some time to kind of work on some things. So we think we're going to spread the season out a little bit more, maybe start a little earlier, maybe a few more off weeks. So I think that's what we're looking at on the trucks, mainly for changes.
It definitely, and in full disclosure, I may have been told about a little bit more break, and I'm the one that told Jeff, I said, we need a summer break like the real racing does. Take off for a month. We're not going to take off for a month in a row, but it's nice to get that little time in. And Jeff, you mentioned too, people want to go on vacations and, stuff like that. That'll give them more chances to do that. Well, go over to Wesley, because Brockton, obviously you're here, but Wesley is the voice. So we'll talk to him real quick. Wesley, you've been the voice of the Northwest series for, I don't know, like 50 million years or something like that now.
This will be my fourth season. This will be my fourth season.
Fourth season. And I've been with them since, was Max Speed TV where I started. Then it was VRN, and there was like a big gap or something in there. And then we were LSRTV. So we've covered this series on multiple different platforms, and we'll be getting to a little bit more about what we expect from LSRTV in the next segment. But just covering this series for so long, kind of a plug to any league that wants to get out there. we really get to know these drivers. Some of them, a lot. So we talk to them in post-race show all the time. What are your thoughts going into a 10th season, getting, knowing these drivers, and who are you predicting maybe to win the truck championship?
Well, you're exactly right. Is that what Jeff and you reiterated on? I tell people this all the time. The same way that I prep and prepare for an iRacing broadcast for the Northwest Cup or Truck Series is the same way that I prepare for a real broadcast, whether it be football or whether it be for racing, like I did at the New Year's Bash for MAV TV last weekend, or for the banquet for Myrtle Beach last night for Florence. I study, I prep, I look at stats, I look at analysis, I look at where things are, I look at where their wins columns are. I look at how they're running, the good, the bad, the ugly of the season. And, and I tell people this, Charles, and you're behind the scenes normally in my ear whenever it's either me or Justin or me and Terry or Radford or Taylor Burris or Brockton Packard, Jason Rockefeller, whoever it is we have working with us. We're telling a story. You're telling a story. You are telling a story about all of these guys of the Northwest that come together every Monday night, every Thursday night, whenever we raced, and put on a great show. And in my opinion, the Northwest Racing Series is probably one of the premier iRacing sanctioning leagues in the entire iRacing server. And it is ran professionally. It is good racing. Yeah, we have our, moments where sometimes it's like, come on, guys, we're in the funny papers here. But for the most part, it's always great competitive. And the relationships that we build, talking with the drivers, talking with Jeff, there's guys that I have their phone numbers for. And as much as I call their iRacing events, you build a friendship with them. You build a communication with them. And, of course, I tell people this all the time because sometimes people say you're crazy. You can build friendships. You can build relationships with people that you've never met a day in your life. And I say this humbly, but you do meet them because you do see them on the screen like we are right now, or you hear their voice on the broadcast or you're interviewing them, and or on Discord, which I hate Discord. But with that being said, you get to know these people. You definitely build a friendship with them. And Jeff, I think it's awesome to consider putting the Premier Series, the trucks. And a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, I know we've done 3 years of Cup, and before me was ARCA or Xfinity, but the Truck Series is the premier class for the Northwest Racing Series. And I think that, honestly, Premier Monday night, that would be perfect for the tour.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Brockton, we got you here, so we want to talk to you. Obviously, it's a Northwest only series. Those are the drivers that are in there. But as a driver, you do a little bit more driving than any of us, except for probably Jeff. When you talk about 10 years, being or 10 seasons in a league, just is that a league you would want to join if you could?
I mean, longevity in an iRacing league is something to be proud of. I mean, if you look back at the leagues that we've had on LSRTV, I've been a part of a couple, and unfortunately, those leagues have dissolved for one reason or another. And being able to see week in, week out, year after year after year, I mean, this is my 5th year iRacing. And the fact that the Truck Series in itself for the Northwest Racing Series has doubled my career in iRacing in how long they've been a part of this, I guess, ecosystem of racing is incredible. And I mean, I wish I could, I wish my location wasn't as known as it was, because I'd love to fib to old Jeff over there and say that I was in the Northwest and run a couple races, because I mean, I've been, like Wesley pointed out, I've been lucky enough to be in some of the booth action for a couple of the races. My first race with them, at least with Wesley, was at Iowa, and that was a fun race to commentate and watch and just break down and see what a truly professional league can do, and what a professional league has the ability to do. Is definitely something that I would want to be a part of in a deeper level, but I'm grateful that I've been able to be a part of it in the ways I have, helping out with a couple other leagues on LSRTV, but by far the best racing, the best people, the best community that I've seen, at least on LSRTV, has been with the Northwest racing series. There's great guys. They're always interactive. There's always chat happening, both in the race and also on the YouTube streams. So I think this is a great place to be a part of. It's a great place to really understand how good of a racer you are, because I tell you what, I have not had the pleasure of racing against Jeff, but I bet he could wipe the floor with me, and I've been doing this for basically 5 years straight. and I own my own team, and I'm coaching for a collegiate level team, and he could wipe the floor with me. So it's just awesome to see all of these guys get together week in, week out, year after year, and throw down like they've done since the start. So I absolutely love this league.
When you Charles and Brockton, you remember when Jeff Stabnow went on like a 2-year losing streak, right? And he finally broke through in victory lane at Kentucky. And I'll be honest, I was ecstatic. I was happy, because it's like, man, I'm rooting for you. I'm pulling for you. Charles would say, don't pick Jeff Wesley. You're going to jinx him every time, So, yeah, I mean, you build a relationship with guys. And Jeff, you think of what Charles said. Look at how big the Northwest Series has come. Our last truck race was at a real racetrack in a press box with a TV setting with the lights and the cameras, the production up high above Florence Motor Speedway, me and Terry Radford and Mark Turner with NASCAR in the booth calling the finale with Jason Rockefeller at his remote location. That's something that I don't think's never been done before, besides what eNASCAR does at the NASCAR Hall of Fame to crown the Coca-Cola champion.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to hear you guys even speak of it the way you do. The things that we've done with you, Wesley, that Florence Motor Speedway, just the things that have happened, iRacing, in general with this league, the friends that we've made, some of my best friends in the world have come out of racing with these guys in the league. I've traveled to meet guys like Sean or Mark Walls, who many of you don't know. I'm sure one of these days I'm going to go hunt Dan down and drink a few beers with him. Dan West Jr. I mean, it's awesome. And that's one of the reasons we've kind of kept it Northwest. Now, I know there's a lot of guys, including a one-thumb wonder, who don't live anywhere near the Northwest, but somehow they've managed to join the Northwest Club and the league, and it is what it is. Yeah, he's not the only one. I know that.
We're speaking of Will Duvall, by the way, BJ Duvall. Yes, a native formerly of West Virginia, as I always try to cover up and say.
So I know we've only got 3 minutes left here. I'll give you a few more nuggets if you want them.
We like nuggets. Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, and a lot of what I'm going to tell you is really up in the air. So, Sean and I got together, and neither one of us really have the time to commit full time to a second series this year, or to say that we'll be able to. And so we've had the Cup Series for 2-3 years, the Xfinity Series, I think, for 3 years. And so we're looking at maybe moving that, what was on Monday nights, the fixed series, to possibly Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see how that lines up, just either the flip-flop or move it to Wednesday. And we think we're going to just try to have a little bit more fun with that this year. We've got several concepts on the table. We've considered maybe just splitting it into 2 seasons and having a half season of ARCA cars and a half season of Xfinity. We've thought about splitting it into 3 seasons and doing 3 even shorter seasons, Dirt, Xfinity, and ARCA. We've also thought about doing a Dirt to Daytona scenario, which is probably the leading scenario right now, where we would start off with, a couple different dirt series for about 4 or 5 races, move into like late models or super late models for 4 or 5 races, ARCA, Xfinity, come up and finish the year with Cup cars. We've looked at several scenarios. I know that there's a rumor that the one thumb wonder, BJ there, and you are talking about running a dirt series for the Northwest people this year. And so whether or not that happens would influence what we might do. I don't think we need to overlap on dirt if you guys are going to do something with dirt. I know that James Vining has considered running an ARCA series again for the Northwest on Friday night. So again, if both of those were happening, then maybe we'd just go with an Xfinity series or something. So there's a lot up in the air, but I think the theme there is that the fixed series is going to be a little bit less about a grueling season of points and playoffs this year, maybe putting more emphasis on the truck series for that, and more about just going out and having fun and different types of racing and having a good time.
Well, definitely all about fun.
Jeff, I want to ask you a question, and I want to throw this out here as a scenario for the second series besides the trucks. I know the truck will be the premier program, but what if you did like what Brockton was talking about, Charles was talking about in our car segment? What if you did like a late model stock Northwest tour, but maybe we could open it up where other parts of the country, let's say if we could get a Caden Honeycutt or a Ty Majeski or some big driver from across the U.S. want to run, let it be primarily based out of the Northwest, but see if we could have a Northwest sanctioned late model stock. And Charles, I know you love short tracks. Have an E-Series for that, for the Northwest for Wednesday night or Thursday.
Hey, we're open to suggestions. You want to put a pitch together and sit down and talk to Sean and I? That's great, man. I mean, I'm open to it. The bottom line is it really comes down to time for Sean and I. If we have, if somebody wants to step up and help us do a little bit more, and maybe for the Wednesday night or Thursday night fixed series, and we're willing to go out there. But I think just the two of us are just a little bit short on time right now, and so we're looking to have fun. And if there's a pitch like that, something to do with the Cars Tour that sounds fun, we're all about it. We love short track racing. We love late models. We love anything that goes in a circle. And, we're not even opposed to turning right once in a while. We talk about mixing GT3s in there a little bit. So it's got a gas pedal and a brake, I guess we're in.
I time's up, but I second what Wesley said. If that's the case, I don't know how the interest is in the dirt. I haven't looked on the page in a while, but I'd scratch that to do some super late model racing throughout the year because quite frankly, I'm not going to say why in this segment, but I am going to say why in the next segment, which we're about to start. And that's the segment that is about as close to near and dear to my heart as this segment was. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that one off there. And the 20 segment button's not working. So apparently I didn't fix that button. So I apologize for that. But we're just going to put 15 minutes back on the clock and we're going to get right into the next segment. And that is what is in store for LSRTV for 2023. A lot. I know we've been circulating some videos where we've upped our 4K, so now it's like 20K or something like that at this point. It looks amazing now. And I just got a hold of Jeff earlier today about one of those things that is kind of all of what LSRTV has done has hinged on internet. We only got so much of it. But we've been waiting on Vexus to come in. Thank you, Vexus, for finally coming to town. And there's two areas. So like here and here in my area, well, one of those areas is now in service. So my area, they're about 4 streets away from being in my area. So I would imagine by the end of the month, maybe very beginning of February, we should have gig up internet, which is a game changer for LSRTV. We're possibly going to start doing post-race interviews on camera. We can get these people, as many people as we want connected to do that, so we can do stuff like this. So a lot of things. We're actually redoing all the overlays as we speak. And Jeff, I'll let you mention one of the cool things that's coming because it was your idea yesterday, and I'm implementing that for 2023. He's forgot what it was. The bottom ticker.
Oh no! So yeah, Cody's been he's working hard on the overlays. He always does. And Cody and I were talking, and for him, overlays are as much for artistic value as they are for race information. And of course, Cody and I go back and forth because I'm saying, well, I think a lot of guys like the race information. They're here to watch a race, and so Cody and I butt heads over that a little bit once in a while, and we had a talk, and Cody actually had a really cool thing to show me, and that was the ability to put a constant bottom ticker on there in a way that looked pretty neat on the broadcast. So we can constantly have a ticker on there, even when we remove the sidebar and or want to show other information on there. So I mean, to most people, that's not really exciting. But if you see what Cody's got going on with some of the overlays and broadcast things that he's trying to put into this broadcast, it is pretty neat. And there's a very concerted effort there by Cody to make a lot of changes to the graphics on the broadcast.
Yeah, a lot's going on, and part of this, we'll bring Brockton and Wesley in. Both of you have done announcing for us. In one of the, my key things, because Wesley will just utterly gripe at me all day long if I listen, is being able to see what's on there. I like it to look pretty, but you also got to be able to see and read the graphics that are on there. And that's one thing, while you haven't seen it yet, Wesley, and you won't till Tuesday, is the sidebar that we have. We've actually made that a little wider. It's about 20 to 30 pixels wider. We've bolded some of that font, so it's going to be easier for the fans to read, easier for the announcers to read, so they can call the race better. So it's very small things that we've gone through, and, with the higher quality 4K, with the new graphics cards and stuff, we're going to be able to push that limit with the internet. We're going to be able to push more bit rate to the stream, which is going to make it look clear for the fans. You won't get as much pixelation, which absolutely is my bane of my existence at this point. So a lot of things, and all of this is just because I want to put out the best product we can. I already think we're the best company on iRacing. We have the best boss in the world, so I'm not just inflating his ego. He really is one of the best bosses. But that's why we do it. We do it I do this for the announcers and for the fans. Wesley, I know you like being able to see what's on the screen.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, or they've never realized it until I tell them, and this is the honest truth. I don't have iRacing. I don't have an iRacing account. I've never had iRacing. I've never driven a car on the track, dirt, pavement, whatever, road course. Obviously, all I simply do for the last 3 years, especially since COVID, is connect to the broadcast server, get on here. And one of the things that I love about what LSRTV has done, Live Sim Racing, Rocket Racing Media, what Charles and Jeff have done over the years, they evolve. You're constantly evolving. Even though we're moving things and taking things to another level, we do not stop. Because when you stop, you become complacent. That's when laziness settles in. That's when it looks like, okay, where do we go from here? With somebody like Charles and Jeff, we know where we go from here. You know that there's going to be something new on the horizon. And yes, I've seen some of your little teaser videos. I watched some the other day at the hotel in Myrtle Beach, and I was like, holy cow, man, wow, I can see everything here. Look at the quality. So it's amazing not only to be broadcasting in 4K, but to do all the bells and whistles and the graphics and the replays and all the work that goes behind it. Jeff, I think hands down that is why people are enticed to want to do the Northwest Racing Series, even if they're out of the zip code, like Brockton here. Okay, there we go. Trying to make sure I got it right. And secondly, it makes it where people want to be a part of it, and they want to be excited to see what comes out on Monday nights or Tuesday nights. And, we enjoy our partnership, not only with what we do with the Northwest Racing Series, Charles and Jeff, on LSRTV, but, Jeff, we simulcast on CRN, the radio network, 87.9 FM, the radio station that I own here in the Carolinas. And I have literally heard people say, man, I listen to your race every Monday night or Thursday night, or I listen to the replays, and it is like listening to a MRN or PRN NASCAR broadcast the way that you guys call it. And that's what people love.
Yeah, for me, just seeing the progression. I mean, the first time I ever heard of LSR TV was about 3 or 4 years ago with the Adrenaline iRacing series, where my good friend over here, Wesley Outland, expressed one of my wrecks as, what was it, Wesley, at Bristol? It was hot Cheetos and Dunkin' Donuts everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, something of that analogy.
that was the first time that I had experienced this group, and ever since then, I've always wanted to get on camera, wanted to be involved with you guys in some shape or form, and now being fully immersed in the LSR TV it's not even a company anymore to me. It's more of a family. I mean, I've gotten to know Wesley as a personal and a professional level. Wesley's going to eventually understand what it's like to drive a race car online, because he's going to eventually sit in this seat, and I will stream it, and I will send the clips to Cody and Jeff and push them out everywhere. So when Wesley dogs us about getting loose or making an oopsie, we can post him up online going, "What's that, Wesley?"
I'm going to say I'm going to stick to the broadcast booth, okay? I'm telling you right now. But, yes, the invitation's been given to come down to Charlotte where Brockton is and be able to hang out with him. And we'll do it one day when I'm down there, probably for Coca-Cola 600 weekend or the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, hands down. But I will say this, Terry Radford, guys, I ran into Terry last night, 2:30 in the morning at Buc-ee's in middle of damn BFE, South Carolina, outside of Florence and Darlington. He's leaving a go-kart track. I'm leaving Myrtle Beach. I stopped. I got a weakness now, people. I got a hunger for Buc-ee's beaver nuggets. And if you ever get the beaver nuggets, I bought Charles. Don't laugh. Hang on a minute. I'm right back. Hang on.
Beaver nuggets? Is that anything
okay.
like
so while he's doing this, this is a true statement. These beaver nuggets are addicting. And while he's getting his, I just want to point out what's on my
5 bags. I bought 5 bags last night of these beaver nuggets, okay? And no, I'm not trying to promote Buc-ee's, Jeff and Charles, but damn it, we need them as a sponsor. But holy cow,
Buc-ee's
man, I got to
place.
witness 5 bags. 5 bags of Buc-ee's beaver nuggets. But anyhow, back to my segue. I go in there, Charles and Jeff, and lo and behold, there's Terry Radford. And you know how big he is. He's big as Kane as he is, like a wrestler. And I'm like, holy cow, you know. And so we talked for a few minutes. And, of course, you know, he's doing a lot of things now with the new racing side with Pit Row TV and other stuff. And, you know, just to catch up with him, you know, Jeff, that's what you were talking about, meeting up with Dan West Jr. or Sean Breitzman or people like that from the Northwest or from LSRTV. You never know who you know, and you never know who know you when you're randomly just going to run into them. And that's what happened last night. We randomly ran into one another at a gas station while I was getting some beaver nuggets. I love these things.
Well,
Jeff, I need to bring you a bag.
Beaver nuggets. You know,
I got to bring you a bag.
You know, since we're on the topic of, you know, that, we told the people we were going to shameless plug this, but, you know, obviously, you know, we have a lot, and I mean absolutely a lot going on for LSR TV coming into 2023. We spent a lot of time and some of those green things during the off season to get ready for this. But that being said, again, we're going to shameless plug this. If you have a league or even a big event, you know, we love big events, big money races, big name races, whatever they are. If you got a big event, we want to get it on LSR TV, you know, pending availability and Brockton not dying on us over here. we have some of the best in the business, you know. There may be some announcers I think that maybe would be classified as, you know, the best announcer on iRacing, but I think we have some of the best overall announcers. You know, a lot of our guys do real work the event. That's why we're not available on the weekends for the most part, but there are weekends we are. So if you got a big event, hit us up. You know, and I've told people this all the time, and I'll say it all the time again. We're not the cheapest, but, you know, we're going to give you that quality for what you pay for. So, yeah, get messages up. If you got a league out there, hit us up. You know, if we're available, we'll definitely we'll work with you. We'll get you in for that new quality. I mean, and not only that, I think everyone will agree here. The new quality looks good that nobody really has seen yet too much. But we are the only broadcaster in 4K right now. And it looks amazing. So, you know, if nothing else, you know, Brockton, you're a painter. You painted your car. You know, if you got a league and you paint these cars for your sponsors, whether they're, you know, your made-up sponsors or real sponsors in that case, you're going to want them seen. So why not come to the home of 4K iRacing broadcast so you can actually see what's on the car?
Absolutely. Also, my apologies for forgetting how to drink water there. But no, like we were kind of talking about last week and now a little bit this week, the visual aspect of not only the broadcast, but being able to see the cars and seeing the cars how they were meant to be seen is such a important part of this, I guess, this sport, because if I've got, let's say, the Press Box Motorsports Podcast on the side of my car, and all you can see is a blocky smudge on the side of my car, that's not going to make you guys happy. It's not going to make me happy. It looks unprofessional on everybody. So if my car looks exactly how it should, if not better, because, I mean, 4K quality with chrome, matte, and glossy finishes is just amazing. It's going to elevate not only the broadcast, but also the prestige of the league, and it's going to try to get more people involved with sponsorships and more painters involved. I mean, we've seen iRacing painters like Lefty Designs, excuse me, and a couple other guys go from designing these iRacing fantasy paint schemes to now designing cars for Jimmy Johnson and others that look amazing and would not have been designed if it wasn't for leagues being able to show what the car looked like and rendering and stuff like that. So now it opens up the doors to the designers trying to make their way in the sport, the drivers trying to make their way in the sport, and now more sponsors to make their way into the sport. So I think this real 4K that nobody else has done before is going to be amazing, not only for us as a company, but also iRacing as a whole.
Jeff, Charles, can we hear Jeff's analysis on this? Because, I mean, we haven't really heard what the boss man thinks of all the stuff that we have done, that you have done. There are a lot of tinkering going on, Jeff, and there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that a lot of people do not realize until we hit that live button, and then you see the final product.
Yeah, it's look, the Northwest Truck Series isn't the only thing that's been around for 10 seasons. LSRTV just completed its 10th year in existence. Now, we didn't always own it. It wasn't always us. It's changed some hands, but it's always been one of the most recognized names in esports broadcasting, iRacing broadcasting, one of the pioneers. A lot of the people that got their starts here have gone on to bigger and better things. Not that there's bigger and better than us, but some have moved on to other things. Some have moved on to big and better. But LSRTV has history. It has a reputation. And so we certainly, while we carry the torch, don't want to be the ones to not continue that. And I think we have a group of guys here who honestly are never satisfied, continually strive to get better, which is exactly the group that we want. And so we're constantly, I don't know, sometimes it seems like we're always in a state of working on something, and you want to say, can't we ever just finish working on something? But the truth is it's never good enough. And if you look at the 4K, even the 4K we had last year, it's way better now. But it brings a sense of realism, right? The better the resolution, the more realistic it looks on the broadcast. The cars look real. Some of the venues look real. I mean, there are times where if you first glance until you see maybe the crowd or something, you look at a high quality 4K with sun reflections and all that, you're trying to figure out if it's real or not, and then so we have announcers who do this in real life, right? This is kind of a hobby for Wesley because his real life is doing it all the time, or passion, right? Wesley's out there at all these tracks. Look, we saw him peek under the Clark Kent outfit there in that picture of Flow Racing shirt. So we can only guess what's coming next, but we know that Wesley's worked for Fox Sports Radio. He's worked for numerous TV and radio in the industry, NASCAR, short track, all around the Carolinas there, local, national. And so, this is something Wesley, don't get Terry, right? He just talked about Terry's up there working for Pit Stop TV now and doing some of this, We've got Charles, who's worked for Race on Texas. He's done some Lucas Oil stuff. Charles he does real life production too, right? Wesley does real life announcing. Terry does now some real life announcing. We've got some others that have dabbled in it, in one way or another. So I think what we bring is realism. We bring, that immersion. And when you go and you look at the broadcast and you see the realistic high quality 4K, and you hear the same voices that you might hear on TV or on the radio calling a race and calling it the same way they do, with that same high quality production, I think that's what we're striving for. We continue to get better, and that's what we're doing. So, I mean, I think it's awesome, right? I mean, isn't that what a simulator is supposed to be? Aren't we supposed to strive to be as real as we can in that simulator? And so just like the guys in the Northwest Truck Series do, or the other Northwest Series, or any series on iRacing, the College Pro Series that we're going to talk about next week, maybe, or any of that, where, I mean, there's a lot of people got lots of money into these simulators trying to get realism. And, we've done the same at LSRTV. I don't know if you guys can see the production central there, but just look at all the monitors just on the top right corner of Cody's, right? That's a wall of monitors that goes on forever. And I can tell you for a fact, there is underneath that desk, there is like a row of computers that I don't know how he lives. You see that little hose going out that TV just to keep it cool in there and move some airflow around there. I mean, this is way more than launched a lot of those first trips to the moon, right? I mean, this is, we joke, we call it mission control, but there is a serious investment of time and money in that studio and pride to bring that 4K. So, as an owner of LSRTV, man, I couldn't be more proud of what we're doing, what we're trying to do. And, anybody that wants to be a part of that, you bet, give us a call. We'll figure out how to get you in there with us.
You've heard of the song Major Tom. I call him Major Charles. Major Charles in Michigan Troll. So for sure, definitely.
Well, that being said, we'll recap. Give us a call, email, message me on Facebook. I don't care. I'm on there pretty much 7 any day. That being said, we'll do one fast.
It's always on one of his monitors.
Yeah, that's true. See what you can't see. Yes, there is a wall. There's 6 right here. There's one way up there that you can't see. There's one on this wall. There's one right here that obviously you can see. You can't see it. There's a clip. There's right here. There's actually a portable monitor right there I use. So they're everywhere around here. Plus, about 14 stream decks and 6 keyboards and mice.
And can't get internet now. Fiber.
Yes. Fiber be here any day now. Looking forward to that. But
did he just say mice? Did he mean mouse or mice? Did you say mice?
I think multiple mice.
Mouse. It's a mouse.
It's a mouse.
So for anyone that wondered, yes, we have multiple mice laying around here. We've got more laying around here. We have them everywhere.
It's the best rodent infestation you can buy.
Yeah, so we have
Last week there was a graphics card in the podcast. This week I think there's a new processor somewhere around there.
Oh yes, so we'll hang on.
Double microphones.
It's a constant state of upgrade. Microphones everywhere.
Oh yes, what he's talking about is this right here, 99 sensor Intel. But yes, that's what I was talking about. What you were talking about, it's in the little wafer thing. It's a fairly nice thing. But yeah, we got that laying around. So lots
whatever
of stuff.
It takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. So before we get final thoughts, this is just one last little joke here we're gonna play here, and you never know what you're gonna pull out from your Wesley. Let's see. This is the stuff that's in this office. We got aerosol cans.
Hey, look, we're in this together, brother. Okay, I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you.
We do have more. We have spare mice laying around in case we need them. And just in case,
Not telling me what's
People
in
are
this.
like, what the hell do they got? What the hell do they got WD-40 for in the broadcast booth? But no, this is an aerosol
Just
can.
on the
It's one of
event
those
we
spraying with the air.
So if we get hungry during a broadcast, we do have jars of sour pickles.
He's got his pickles. I was about to say, where's his pickles at?
Oh,
He's
no.
got-
That jar's as big as he is.
You never know what you're going to see. What you can't see is in front, right up here. You can't. There's actually a mini fridge with bags of chips and drinks, all kinds of stuff. We got cookies. So yeah, this is the life of a producer. But final thoughts. We'll start with Brockton, Wesley, and then Jeff. What do you say to anybody that wants to come to LSR TV and your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we have the most subscribers on YouTube out of any iRacing broadcasting company. Wesley's just pulling out all his Bucky Stop snacks, and I'm getting jealous because there's a Bucky's for another 100 miles from here, so I'm a little jealous of that. We got 7.75K subscribers on YouTube. There's a reason for that. You guys put in work. I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night with messenger messages from Cody going, oh, I did this, and this, and I still have to do 17 other things before the end of the night. And I'm like, dude, go to bed. But these guys will stay up. They will get your stuff done, and they will make sure that your league is not only one of the best produced, but also some great radio and video personalities and some great drivers that, I mean, every time that I see a new league, I go, do I want to be a part of that league? And if the answer is yes, I always try to get involved with it in some way. So it's a huge family. The family grows every time you join a league. These guys are great people. This was a great show. There's going to be more to come. Maybe next week there'll be some more me-centric topics, but I always enjoy learning with the Wesley. How many years you got? 20 plus years experience behind the microphone? Is that right?
So 20. This is my 28th year. 28th year.
28 years, Wesley. My 20th birthday is tomorrow, so you've been doing this longer than I've been alive. So there's just so much. There's so much to learn from all of these guys. Thank you. There's so much to learn. If you're even remotely thinking about starting a league and want this league to be a professional style league, go to LSRTV. Do it. Just do it. It's going to help. And if you figure out things that you are doing wrong, they're going to tell you. And you got to take that as constructive criticism because they know what they're doing. 10 plus years in the business, over almost 10,000 people subscribed. They're going to give you your just desserts.
I follow the same sentiments as being chief announcer, and I want to say thank you to Jeff and Charles for instilling the opportunity for me to be able to do that and being here with you guys since 2020. I remember the first conversation I had whenever they said, "Hey, you're going to be the guy in the booth with LSRTV," and I'm like, "What? No!" Because, as Jeff said, there were previous people in the past, and I had run-ins with those people in the past, and they still owe me money from the past. But you also have to realize to let bygones be bygones, and you have to give people a new chance. And just I have nothing but love for Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten. Charles is like a brother from another mother. We hate each other. We love each other. We want to kill each other. We want to hug each other. But he knows without a doubt if he needed me, I would be there in the drop of a hat and vice versa. That has already been shown when my uncle passed away last year unexpectedly after a surgery. Had a widowmaker. The good times, the bad times, times that we have been live on the air, and Charles had a family emergency, and he had to get off the air quickly to go be with his grandmother or with a family member. And you build, like we said, those relationships, and I am honored to be whatever I've been able to do for the last close to 28 years. We mentioned how long it's been, and oh no, this is the first picture, Brockton. This is the first picture of me ever announcing a race, and I was 13 years old. That was at Southern National.
That's before he found Bucky's, by the way.
I had that's where I got the Beekman's World hair, as they say. And that was one of the coolest moments, because if you look behind me, that is the Phil Bachman number 75 of Robert Huffman, which actually, ironically, Charles, Landon Huffman, his son, was on Finish Line on our other show podcast on Wednesday. And Robert Huffman running the Goodies Dash series, and that was one of the first NASCAR events I ever got to announce, was a NASCAR Goodies Dash race at Southern National, and I'll never forget that. Man, for NASCAR and Southern National say, "Hey, you're 13 years old, but I want to give you the chance to announce with these guys." And I tell people this, I tell Jeff and Charles and others, listen, okay, yeah, I might not have had a life, but I did have a life. I was 13 years old, a teenager, working with grown men and women in the racing industry, in the press box, in the pits, and I learned so much. I came from the news, the notepad, paper, pen era, doing the index cards, to doing the spreadsheets today on Google Docs. If the internet crashes, we can somehow not freak out and stop the race. We can grab pen and paper and hand score if need be. So I've been blessed. I've worked very, very hard. Like Brockton said, I enjoy working Charles and Jeff with so many different announcers, so many different personalities. And I always say this, you're going to move on somewhere. You're going to move on to what you're doing, because nobody ever needs to become complacent. But when you do that, don't be afraid to never forget where you come from, and never be afraid to come back to where you started. Because I think that the people that you help along the way that you treat people, the way that you are perceived in this industry, whether it's in sim racing, real racing, life in general, those are the people that are going to be there for you when you have your ups and downs or your fall in life where you might need to have somebody pick you back up. And that's what I try to do so much, working with all of these young announcers. And, I am looking forward to this year. I look forward to seeing the new bells and whistles and the graphics. Jeff and Charles, I look forward to working with you guys more on behind the scenes of things that we've talked about also. And I think the sky's the limit. I think when we're bald-headed and gray-headed or whatever it is we be 10 years from now, because I'll be 50, I guess it'll be, we'll still laugh, and hopefully LSRTV will still be kicking.
Your turn, Jeff. I didn't think your turn was going to get here, but it is your turn.
Yeah. There's no shameless plugs here at LSRTV. I think every plug that we do is well deserved. I don't think we're actively looking for leagues. I think we're looking for partners. I came to LSRTV as a league owner. I didn't own LSRTV when I came here. Race on Texas and Charles owned it, and Wesley was one of the announcers. And we meshed. We meshed to the point where when times got tough and somebody else needed to kind of own LSRTV, I stepped in because I didn't want it to go away. I loved what Charles had going on. I loved what Wesley had going on. And for the most part, these are the guys that run LSRTV. We've got Terry, we've got Tim and Jason and Justin, who all do amazing things. Charles, with space control there. Mason fills in from time to time on some stuff with us. Carlos, BJ, I don't even know what he does for us, but every once in a while he does something great, but he's part of the family. Sean, there's just so many wonderful people here. I just wanted to keep it going. This is why I own LSRTV now. It was just, what an amazing group of guys to work with who are always striving to do something better. And it's just fun. It's part of what makes this worth doing. If we're looking for leagues, I think we're looking for guys that fit into that and want to be a part of that. We love doing big events. We'll get serious when we need to get serious. And, for guys that are looking to have a good time and have fun, well, that's right up our alley. So, that's my thoughts on it. I think we got something pretty special here, and it continues to grow.
Yeah, it definitely is. And my final thoughts, simple. I agree with everything they said. And, Wesley wants to do a 24-hour race. So if anyone's got a 24-hour race, we'll consider it. But you must supply coffee and Gatorade and whatever it is other people's
Buc-ee's, beaver nuggets.
Okay, well,
pickles.
Some beaver nuggets too. That being said, we're gonna call it a day. It's been a good show. Looking forward to everything and what we have in the store. So on behalf of myself, they're muted now so they can talk, but you won't hear them. On behalf of Wesley, see, you can't hear him. Wesley, Jeff, and Brockton, another good show. We'll see you all next weekend. We'll probably have the college series on there, maybe some other stuff. We'll see exactly what we have. But either way, we will be here for episode 3 next Sunday, 3 p.m. Central for the Press Box Motorsports Podcast. And as always, thanks for watching.
I breathe fire with every breath. It's a marathon, so I never rest. No, you wanna feel my shoes, you know you're gonna lose. I make moves like I'm playing chess. Always hate beat when I need success. Grade A DNA, you could say I'm blessed. So I'm coming up now. I'm ready for the big time. I'm headed for the finish line. On top, 'cause the world is mine. I'm ready for the show. You're gonna see me glow in the spotlight. I'm ready for the big time. Somebody hit the lights, I'm gonna drop the mic.